up. I am waiting for YouTube to now be live, and it would appear we are live. How is it going? I am Dr. Lindsay Huey, lead faculty of extremity management, along with Dr. Mark Gallant, and I am so happy to be with you on a Clinical Tuesday. And it is funny that the sun has shifted now, and it is directly on my forehead. I had practiced this 20 minutes ago, the light, but it looks like I need to pull that down, excuse me. All right, so today, folks, what are we chatting about? Well, today is part 2 of a 2-part series, Burnout is BS. And so part 1 came with a mindset shift and a challenge to reframe burnout as an opportunity and to allow feelings associated with burnout to serve as fuel to make a change, to confront burnout like a bison confronts a storm. The second episode is going to be more about the challenge of using these emotions to fuel our focus to one thing, and just some suggestions on how to support and maintain that one thing. But before we dive in, there are some courses that Mark and I have coming up in January 2023, and I would love to tell you about them. Hi, Brady. I see Onward Philly waving. I love a good wave in the morning. So, our courses. And speaking of Brady, we are going to be in Paoli, Philly, at Onward Philly. I don't know why I said Paoli, Philly, Paoli, PA, doing extremity management January 14th, 15th. Our other January 14th, 15th course actually got sold out in Minnesota. So if you had your eyes on that date, come join us as we have more spots left. And then January 21, 22 will be in Ohio. And then January 28th in St. Augustine, Florida. So literally every weekend in January, we have spots that are filling up readily. I can't believe that Minnesota course already sold out. It's wild. So please come join us before there aren't any more spots. And then February, almost every weekend again, we have an opportunity for you to come see us. I will be with the Fenton crew in February 4th and 5th. Alan and Megan will have their baby by then. Come join us that weekend if you are available. And again, just check us out on ptonice.com because I'm excited to get to the topic at hand. But there are a host of opportunities in this first quarter. So back to this 2-part series that's really just charging me up lately is thinking about burnout. And so our last episode, just a quick debrief, was really what sought me to go after this 2-part series is because to be a resilient clinician, we have to be able to reframe our own experience with feelings of burnout. You cannot help a patient reframe a negative or challenging experience if you yourself can't do that. And so that episode was all about this mind shift opportunity to charge a challenge like a bison and acknowledging feelings like chronic fatigue, insomnia, forgetfulness, headaches, chest pain, increased illness, loss of appetite, cynicism, increased irritability, all those feelings that can come along feeling burned out or characterized under the umbrella of burnout. But to recognize these feelings more as manifestations of discontent and malalignment with what is important to you as an individual, as a human. When our time and how we use it isn't aligned with what is most important to us, you will always feel worn out and burned. Even if it's that perfect job that you thought was the thing and you're feeling those feelings, that's not normal. And that is a sign of malalignment. When our time is not aligned with our values and our goals, we'll always get that feeling like we can't do it or it's too much. To avoid burnout, you have to find your one thing. And that was the challenge I left 2 weeks ago on our last Clinical Tuesday, that your time, your choices, and your tribe, they have to align with one thing, not 3, not 5, not 2, not 1, or excuse me, not 2, but 1. So, how do you determine what your one thing is? You have to know what is authentically important to you as a human. Your one thing needs to capture that and really bring your authentic essence to life. Plus, I am convinced it also needs to be service minded, but that's a whole other episode. So, let's give some examples. What is important to you? Is it being a clinician, being the best clinician you can be? Is it being a mom, a daughter, a friend? Is it excellence in all of these roles? Is it being a fitness forward physical therapy teacher or mentor? Is it fitness? Is it coaching? Maybe it's not any of these. Maybe you are trapped in a societal expectation of something you could be. Maybe your mom and dad wanted you to be a PT. Maybe that's actually not your thing. Whatever your thing is, you have to find it and you have to recognize that those feelings of feeling burned out are because you're misaligned with what's important to you. Vince Lombardi said success demands singleness of purpose. And then Jeff Moore said passion is the one trait that rules them all. If we put these together, what do we have? We have purpose driven passion. We need purpose driven passion and priority. Priority singular. Gary Keller suggests in his book, The One Thing, that it is one thing. We all need to choose what that one thing is. And he says, purpose without priority is powerless. I want to give you what my one thing is, just as an example. My one thing is serving humans through learning and teaching about fitness forward physical therapy care. All of my personal and professional decisions line up with this one thing. And it took me a really long time to get here. Honestly, I did a whole lot in the front half of my career to find this one thing. I blurred a lot of my path because I wasn't really sure what it was. I knew I wanted to be a teacher when I was in elementary school. I'd practiced talking to my stuffed animals. I didn't quite know it was to be a physical therapy teacher in the beginning, right? But I kept narrowing down that focus. And it's been people along my path that have challenged me to narrow that focus that has really helped me be where I am today. So I want you to think, do you have one thing or do you have many things? Do your decisions for your time match up with that one thing, right? And if you're doing many things, why are you doing them? What are the many things and what are their purpose? There's another part of knowing your one thing, and it's knowing your no's. And Julie Brower spoke to this in another episode, and I really encourage you to listen to this. But your no's must align with your one thing, meaning your non negotiables. They capture your values and your one thing best. So for some, and I'm going to share kind of my big ones, it's not working on Sunday, meaning not treating patients on Sunday, not working past 8 p.m., not working with more than one patient an hour. Whatever your non-negotiables are, you can't compromise or you'll never have peace. So there's that other feeling of if you don't have your one thing focused, plus your no's don't line up with that, you're never going to have peace, right? You'll always have feelings of restlessness or discontent. And some of those ones I listed, maybe those aren't yours, whatever your no's are, but whatever they are, you stick to them because they will help sustain you and your one thing. Finally, and maybe most important, when we're pursuing that one thing with tenacity, is you can't do it alone. You need support, and your social support has to look like so. You have to have a place where you can really be vulnerable and unravel a bit. And for me, that's my family, right? I can cry to them. I can have a bad day and vent about it and still keep going, right? They're just going to listen and say, that sucks, right? Not necessarily going to give me a solution, but kind of just be there. So have some kind of family support. And then friends that are supportive of your one thing, but not the friends that are just going to tell you what you want to hear. It's the friends that actually tell you what you don't want to hear, that call you out. I have some very pivotal conversations that I've had in my career leading up to now. And one of them really was with Jeff Moore. And when he kind of challenged me, like, you're doing a lot. So before I was at ICE, I was doing adjuncting at Baylor, adjuncting at South College, pursuing my DSC, helping with evidence in motion, helping with ICE TAing. And I was doing all these things and it was really cloudy. And Jeff kind of just was like, well, what is most important to you? It's not really clear with all the, and I was doing drive and pursuing being a business owner and CrossFit and just a lot of things. But it takes some hard conversations that are uncomfortable, that maybe piss you off a little bit at the time. But those friends that surround you and tell you and challenge you to focus on that one thing, that's a part of this too. If you don't have those people in your life, find them. The other part is your tribe support and accountability, a place where you are held accountable to charge and sharpen the sword, right? If I want to give excellent fitness forward care, I need a tribe that demands that. And obviously for me, it's my ICE crew and my ICE people. And quite honestly, it's a culture of calling one another out. It's not a grace-filled culture. There isn't a lot of slack, and I love that. I am so grateful for that because that's what keeps us sharp. And I don't just mean in our knowledge base, but in our teaching execution, in our fitness forward education. Being around that tribe makes you want to be healthier and stay healthier, right? And stay on top of your fitness game. We need that kind of multifactorial support in order to fuel your one thing. Lastly, you need an ecosystem support for yourself. And it won't surprise you that for me, if you've heard other podcasts that I've done or read our meds paper, but mindfulness, exercise, diet, and sleep, these four pillars, when you're thinking about maintaining your own healthy ecosystem, you need to support your mindset. You need to support the health of your body and tissues. And you'll do that through good nutrition and fueling, and you need to get good sleep. If you don't have this interplay of all those supports, right? Friend, family, tribe, and ecosystem, your one thing can't really flourish. And Megan Daly, in a previous episode, she really spoke to things like doing cold plunge, having time away maybe from social media, taking a full day just to do something that you really enjoy, your perfect day, as she calls it. You have to have time that fills your mental and emotional cups as well. You can't fill others with an empty cup. So this ecosystem piece is really paramount when we think about tenaciously and ferociously going after that one thing. Because I'll tell you, team, whoever's listening, failures are really inevitable along this path to finding, if you haven't found it yet, and pursuing the one thing. We are human and we diverge. And you need a personal and professional network that's really going to hold you accountable to do what you say, to live according to your one thing. This accountability feedback loop, it creates this ongoing and unending success loop because it helps your ability to bounce back when you do fail or you do diverge from your one thing. It becomes faster and more efficient. And really, if we think about it, that's what we are doing for our patients. It's accountability to get well, to heal their tissues, to give them a plan that helps them with success. And yes, there's going to be failures and divergent, but we're there to hold them accountable. We as humans need that same thing. So if you aren't surrounding yourself with that, you will feel burned out. Your ongoing pursuit of your one thing, it is only possible with social, professional, tribe, ecosystem support. You need all four. And again, why does this all matter? If we are focused on our one thing, right? If we can do that and be about that ourselves, we can more easily champion our patients and their one thing focus, right? Think about the patient that comes in with 5 things they want to work on, and you have to talk to them and say, well, what is our one goal right now? Let's focus on that, right? And get them dialed into that. We can't do that well if we're not doing that well ourselves. Living out your one thing is about being about it holistically for ourselves so we can be that example for our patients. I want to conclude the 2-part series with some final thoughts about burnout. The idea of burnout is corrosive to our soul and our profession. Stop allowing burnout to capture or degrade your soul. Use those feelings to fuel you to find your one thing and your soul purpose. And I mean that singularly, and I mean that soul inside of you. Find it, own it, shed away anything else that distracts from it. Stop claiming burnout. Start tenaciously pursuing your one thing. Surround yourself with a network that supports your one thing personally, professionally, wholly via ecosystem considerations. If it aligns with your one thing, you won't feel drained even when you're tired. If it's aligned with your one thing, you will feel recharged even when there's a lot of to-dos on your plate and you're working towards that one thing. And P.S., as you focus on your one priority, you will continue to shed away what's not important to your one thing. And yes, this often means some to-dos that you used to say yes to, and certain relationships get shed as well. If you show up as your authentic self, your real self, your no-show self, your one thing will shine more clearly. Fire refines, y'all, and the feelings of burnout are just another opportunity to refine. If you're aligning with your soul purpose, it won't feel busy. You'll feel full and you'll feel productive. Burnout is BS because it's only a series of messaging and a call to change and refocus. Refine yourself, your calling, to one thing. Know your no's, surround yourself with support, and you won't experience burnout ever. Be a Bison team this Clinical Tuesday. Thanks for listening. I think I'm still